it was a group of us that came together. Actually, I was trying to eat before I came on. It didn't work, so I had to come on. Well, to start at 4. But bear with me, family. Bear with me. Y'all know what time it is, right? It's Wednesday, 4 o'clock. The Couch Conversation Show. The Couch Conversation Show. With your host, Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation Show. Let me do it again. Let me do it again. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation Show. Let me do it again. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation Show. Hey, family. Hey, family. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. And I pray that y'all are having a beautiful holiday season. I felt a little down yesterday. And normally on Thanksgiving, this is when we celebrate my mother's birthday on Thanksgiving. And yesterday, on the 25th, because I believe that's exactly her birthday, right? I was starting to feel a little down. What's up, Passport? I was starting to feel a little down, right? And I said, this must be her birthday. Because I wanted to go into that state of self-pity. So I started saying, and my mother passed away when I was 26. I started saying, Mom, I love you. I miss you. You know, I started saying that and saying happy birthday because we always celebrated it on Thanksgiving Day. So that's in my mind, that's her birthday. But growing up, I found out her birthday was around the 24th or the 25th. But either way, yesterday, when I started feeling a little down, I said, this must be her birthday, you know. And it wasn't to stay there, you get me? because I know the holiday season, a lot of us tend to go through state of depressions, right? Or just the holiday season woes, you know what I mean? So once I started seeing myself hitting in that direction, I was like, no, no, because I knew the work, I know the work that it takes to come up out of it. So I had to start focusing on positive stuff, you know, about my mother, mainly the way she raised me to be a real independent man. And I was a child when my mother said that to me. When I was a child, I was cooking, frying chicken and all this stuff, you know, making market, doing a lot of stuff that doing adults' responsibilities, right? And now I look at it, that was a lot of pressure on a child, you get me? To portray an adult lifestyle as far as being responsible and independent as a child. She taught me things, how to finance, bank, you know, make market, cook, clean, sew, all that good stuff. So anytime a woman or a queen come in my life, yes, I would love for you to have those, you know, talents. I would love for you to have those talents. But the reason why Barbara Jean taught me that, she said, just in case I meet a wife or a woman that won't take care of me in that sense, you'll know how to take care of yourself. So I'm saying this to you, brothers, about taking care of your responsibilities as a man. I grew up without a father, 63 years old. And I just want to say this to my brothers, right? And I know the women probably right there too. When I started doing my ancestry, right, doing my research of my ancestry, I went from my mother, my father, his name here, her name there. I went to my grandfather, my mother, father, and my mother's mother. My grandfather's father and his wife. My mother's, you know, going down the line with the Copeland family. Even tracking the Williams back. But I went down the line with the Copeland family. Then here go my father right here. I'm going down the line. I could not go down the line to do my ancestry with my father. So eventually, I had to delete him off of there. Because I know his first name, I know his last name, I know where he came from, but I didn't have a middle initial to narrow it down. And when I first started looking up that name, it was about 3,000 George Burtons, I'm going to say his name, right? And I had to narrow it down. Once I narrowed it down to the city he came from and the age bracket, it took a lot of them away. So now we're coming down to maybe say about 200 now, 250, somewhere along that line. But I did not have a middle initial. If I had a middle initial or middle name, I could have tracked it straight on down. So I had to get rid of it. And during this time, I did a people search. This was years ago, over 30 years ago. The first time I went searching for my dad. And it tore me apart inside. And people told me, let it go, Steve, because I was hurting real bad about not being able to find him. So I'm just saying this to some fathers to help you understand. Sometimes it's still a void inside of me because I know my mother, but I don't know my dad. So at times, it's like a part of me is missing. And I'm saying this to our men, and I know some of y'all know where I'm at, and some of y'all can relate. I know it. I know it, because y'all listening to another man talking. And mainly the ones that haven't grown up with the father. So I know you understand that biological bond that I'm basically talking about. Him and my mother made me, created me. So that half of my mother is there. But that other half is not there with the dad. And I'm going to say this to the mothers. I don't care how mad you might get with that guy the baby fathers, don't keep your children away from them. And the only reason why I'm saying that, unless you have probable cause, you know what they may be. If they can't be around them, they can't be. I understand. All right? When you got to protect your child in that way. Do what you got to do, what you got to do. Right? But don't badmouth them too. Because once that child get older, you want them to make their own decision. You get me? So I'm just saying this for a man that grew up without a father. And my mother did tell me that she told my father he could never see me no more, but she never told me why. She passed away before I was able to ask her, why did you tell him he couldn't see me no more? And she told me, don't be mad at him. So that's why I try not to, take it too far. You get me? Because sometimes that'll pop in my head that my mother told him that he could never see me no more. Right? Now, over the years, and I don't want to go too far with that one, but I think it was some personal stuff that happened to me that made her tell him he could never see me no more. And that's only because of some work that I have done inside of me to see some behaviors that I used to practice. And I don't remember saying that with nobody else, you get me? So it came from somewhere. So it's for some reason the two of that ties in together. But she's not here for me to get the true answer of why, right? So I try not to speculate too much, but just doing work on Steve and reaching out to outside help. That's why I know it's so important. But to get back to that, mothers, do not, unless it's probable cause for that child not to be around that dad. But if you're doing it out of spite or doing it out of envy, that's the stuff I'm talking about. It's nothing like that bond. Now, I'm going to share this, right? I used to hear people say, God will fill that empty space. God will fill that emptiness. God with this, God with that, God with this, God with that. At one point, I didn't believe him. Just for today, whenever I'm in a certain space, consciously or mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I know I need to reach out to for that spiritual power, that spiritual energy, that spiritual covering. Now, my wife and my children can do that, but it's nothing like the Holy Spirit. I'm telling you now, it's nothing like the comfort of the Holy Spirit. It's nothing like it. Because a lot of us that tends to be hurting inside, like right now, the holidays, a lot of us tend to overeat. A lot of us tend to overshop. A lot of us tend to gamble a lot because now we're trying to sedate whatever feeling or whatever stuff we're going through right now, like depression. So I learned years ago, over 31 years ago, right, of dealing with depression. Now, I didn't know, but over 31 years ago, and y'all know I've been clean 32 years. January will be 33. But anyway, when I first got clean, my first marriage messed up. The house that I had down the street from my first house with somebody else, that got messed up. Well, to a part, you know what I mean. Being unfaithful, being ungrateful, that's what happens. And I felt like unaliving myself. And that's when I found out I was in a state of depression. And I talked with my sponsor and I told him what I felt like doing. But what I did, family, I signed myself away into Johns Hopkins back then in Baltimore City. Because I needed somebody, even though I had a sponsor during that time, to help me restructure my life, or at least to make sure I was continue walking in the right direction, being a new creature in Christ as far as turning my life around. Right? So, in that process, brothers, kings, in that process, women, queens, empresses, Mother Earth, however you might feel like you want to be called. Because some of y'all I'm learning don't like the word females, I'm sorry, female, right? I ain't trying to get into it. I just heard some women say they don't like the word female. Okay. I'm a male, you are a woman. But if I'm not mistaken, the Bible said male and what? Female. But if that's where y'all, that's what things come to, that's fine. I ain't arguing with you. Respect. But now, do not, like I said, unless there's probable cause there, that you find a reason why your child, and I'm talking about something that will affect your child mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Take that physical part and let's put it, I'm going to just say great. If it's something like that along the line, protect your child. Vice versa. It could be the mother with the boys or the girls too. Let's not be closed-minded, family. It happens from both ends. So let's stop it. So, and the reason why I'm talking like this is because if y'all understand what Stephen Copeland Sr. does, I'm a sponsor. I've been clean for almost 33 years, so I sponsor men and women. My housing program, basically, I sponsor the people that comes into my housing program to help them turn the quality of their lives around, to help them change their old ways of thinking, their old behaviors. It's breaking that cycle. Some people might look at it as me being, because of the work I do, a life coach. Because the goal is to help you put your life back in order. Anytime you reach out to strengthen the community, anytime you reach out to strengthen the community, the LaTanya D. Copeland House of Hope, you are reaching out to the housing program to help you, what's up, Jordan? To help you turn the quality of your life around. You are the one, when you ask me and my staff to help you, you are the one that's saying, Mr. Copeland, can y'all please help me gather a life that's worth living? You are the one. So you are the one that have to do the work to make those changes. If you are a woman and you have children, babies, and your father, your mother, your family don't want to deal with you, that's sad. When your own family don't want you in their house, when your own family don't want your children in their house, grandbabies. And I'm going to say this, as a father myself, as a grandfather, can you imagine or do you understand how that feels when you have a child, rather they grown, and they disrespectful towards you, and you don't even want them in your company no more? And it's sad when you don't even want your grandbabies there because of the mother and fathers. Do y'all realize that? When people ask me to help them, and you know, if you come in my program and I'm dealing with you one-on-one, I'm like that father. I'm like that big unc. I'm like OG. I want the best for you. That's why I started this program. The goal is to tolerate you as much as I can. But when you get to the point that you begin to be disrespectful and you don't want to do the necessary work to turn it around, although you said help you, and now you want to fight against the help, bye. Why am I going to keep you? Basically, you're putting yourself back out on the streets. It ain't me, it's you. I want to make this clear. Whenever you reaching out to anybody with a program to say, help me, respect the program. You the one asking for the help. If you became homeless, right, or you can't afford, we know rent is expensive. We already know that. So if you became homeless because you couldn't afford to stay in your place, the goal is to fix it where you can financially make enough money to be able to pay a regular rent if it comes down to that. But when you come in my housing program, the goal is to connect you with HUD housing, whether it's a Section 8 or according to your income. Now, a lot of permanent housing landlords, property managers and stuff like that, right? If they feel as though you don't qualify by doing a background check on you, they're not going to let you in. So if you're in my housing program and we are preparing you to get a permanent place, you do the necessary work. I'm your mouthpiece to tell that permanent place that you've been responsible. You paid your space on time every month. You kept your area clean every month or every day. This is stuff I got to see with my own two eyes so that I can convince that landlord to work with you. This is what I do. That's why it's called temporary to permanent housing. And most landlords will work with me because they know my program is designed to change the quality of their individual life so that they will be more responsible once you put them in a permanent place. So a lot of times you got to get rid of this ghetto mentality that I don't give a freak attitude. You got to get rid of that. So that's why when I do my intake, I'm going to let you know you have to sign up for the mental health program. And saying you have to sign up for the mental health program, we want to break the cycle so you won't keep repeating the same behaviors. So now here come your professional services. So I'm explaining all of this to you before you come into the housing program to let you know what you're getting yourself into. If you come into anybody program, and if they providing services for you, and you don't use those services, then you're wasting their time. Some people will do the work. Some people with no problems. Some people will fight you as far as, fighting to change, which is normally typical. And what we'll do, we will work with you. But if it gets to that point that it's starting a lot of chaos and confusion, I can't keep you. I can't keep you. Because your bad habits can rub off on other clients too. Your negative outlook and speaking on life when somebody trying to help provide you with more a more conservative way of thinking and living and helping you to become more independent and responsible, where you don't have to rely on state and government assistance, at least financially. We put you into a career-minded field. Rather it's nursing, rather it's cosmetology, where you might want to start your own stuff, beauty, barbershop, cooking. However, we got programs that can certify you and license you to become a career professional. You might be working at a McDonald's. You might be working at a Burger King, Wendy's, Walmart. But the goal is to help you get into a professional field where you will make well over $20, maybe $30 an hour. Then if you start your own business, right, the money is yours. But if you don't want to come in and do the work to turn this around, like I said, there's nothing else we can do. I'm going to make sure you get the PRP, the therapist, the psychotherapist, the psychiatrist. If you need meds, that's where the psychiatrist coming at. But what I'm going to do while you're in my housing program, right, I'm going to watch you. My team is going to watch you. We're going to give you some suggestions on what to do. Because like I said, we got to break that old habit. Mainly if you're irresponsible with money. We got to break it. If you the type that likes to fuss and fight and argue all the time, I might not, if you ain't going to change it, I'm not going to bring you in. If I bring you in and you come in and you want to come in with that gangster mentality, you're gone. You're gone. Because now I got a house full of people. I have to watch out for other people's behaviors too because of you. So if you got assault charges on your stuff, a lot of programs not going to bring you in. Because they're held accountable for their other clients. And if you the type that feel like you want to swing on everybody, don't bring yourself in nobody's program. Don't do it. Because you putting their program at risk. Or their business at risk. Now, the same way, and I shared this earlier, coming up on 33 years clean. I've been in Narcotics Anonymous in the recovery program for almost 33 years a day at a time. I use the 12 steps, the 12 traditions, and the 12 concepts to practice those spiritual principles in people's lives inside of my business, my housing program. I'm no different than your PhD, therapist, or licensed psychiatrist, or life coach. I'm no different. Only thing, I go according to life on life term stuff. Basically, I will share my personal level of experience. And I share with you how I was able to work up out of certain circumstances in life to become a better person today. So I don't have to do my research and my statistics over here and this over there. No, I come from a personal level of experience from what I see and what I experience myself. So a lot of your PhDs, your licensed and your certified people that work in certain fields, where do you think they get a lot of that information from? People like me. So I don't see the PhD, the doctorate degrees and all that don't fool me. Because I understand you paid money to learn what I already know. Rather it's spiritual. My relationship as an ordained deacon is guided by the Holy Spirit. Bible come to life to me. So it's sometimes I pick with my church members, right? Because some of them became ministers, got their doctorate degrees and all that. And we can sit down and talk about scripture, and they know I ain't went through none of that they went through. They be like, that's how they know that the Holy Spirit is really working in my life. It will fly over a lot of y'all heads. And I pick with them in a joking way because I know the same information we talking about, they went and studied and got their degrees for it. And it's not to knock nobody. If you become what's her name? I can't think of her name right now, but the lady that wrote the book about post-traumatic slavery syndrome, which is part of slavery disorder, right? That wrote that book. she had to go back and talk a little bit about how it was back then and the same practices that's happening now. And not only the same, you go back to how it was. If you're going to go in your past, if you're going to do your research, if you're going to do all that type of stuff, or you're going to do statistics, I'm telling you personally from a person that speaks, if you're going to do this, what you learn from it is what you need to help teach people to break whatever cycle or whatever struggles or whatever challenges that they're dealing with in life. No, you do research to point out still faults. You keep going around and around and around. So if I do a research on a certain topic, I'm going to look for the solution, the steps that it takes to help people come out of it a day at a time and stay out of it. I look for solutions. Why am I going to do a bunch of research, a bunch of studying, a bunch of statistics, and I know y'all do it just to have a conversation point because you want people to think you're brighter than what you really are or you're more intelligent than what you appear. I already know that. And I got a 9th grade education. And I already know what you're doing. You know why? Because I have the spirit of human insight. So I evaluate people while we're talking. That's why you don't want to get too close to me. Because you get too close to me and you start acting a certain way, I see certain things. But I will give you the benefit of the doubts too. But I'll call you out. And then you'll turn around and get offended, thinking I'm trying to hurt you in a sense. No. But sometimes you got to watch the way you come. Because when you take a person like me, and if you come too hard, I'm going to zero in on your spirit. Because 9 times out of 10, it's not you, it's that evil that's attached to you. Did you miss what I just said? 9 times out of 10, it's not you. It's that evil that's attached to you. So 9 times out of 10, too, if I say something back, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to that darkness that's attached to your life. That's why sometimes you got to watch who you talking to or talking at. Because you'll draw that attention to yourself. And when you have a spiritual discernment like I do, I understand that it's not personal. It's whatever that's attached to you. If you want to take it to that level. That's why some people, you got to watch how you communicate with people. Mainly if you're aggressive. Mainly if you're coming to mentally and emotionally bash a person, to abuse them. Anytime you feel like it's okay for you to verbally abuse a person and physically, that's evil. That's a demonic spirit. And it will make you feel and think like that's the right thing to do. That's a demonic spirit. Mainly, and I listen to a lot of people on here on TikTok. Most of your conversations are like this. They steady around in circles. That's what it is. When sometimes people need to hear, how can I break it? In the moment somebody say, well, what can we do to become better people? Y'all will go right back to this. Well, what can we do? Share some solutions, share some steps, share a process of coming up out of life struggles, life challenges. You can't do it. You know why? because you haven't learned within yourself. So when you sitting down and you talking about certain things, what's up, Unc? Because of the type of person I am and the type of people that I deal with, as far as helping people put their life in order, you think I don't recognize certain things? Ain't too much, Unc. And this is what I do on a personal level, help people put their lives back in order. And if I sit here and I tell y'all I've been married twice, I've been divorced twice, I can talk about the importance of not abandoning your marriage or not giving up too soon, unless it's full of complete chaos and confusion. I would never suggest nobody to stay there and be miserable. When in a marriage, you're supposed to be happy, joyous, and free. Not running around being miserable, don't even want to go in the house, don't even want to deal with your family. And unless you experience it yourself, you will never understand why I'm saying that. I will never tell anyone to just give up on their marriage if it can be worked out. But it takes the two, not just the one. So in a sense, even though I'm talking about the marriage, I'm talking about a committed relationship. Rather, you make the decision to marry that person. But once you commit your life to that individual, whether it's marriage or just a relationship, committed. What you saying, if you was a player like me, you the only one, when I commit myself to you, that I'm going to use this body on. I'm telling you from a man's perspective. So once I commit myself, I'm saying you the only one that I'm dedicating myself to. You the only one that I'm willing, even if I don't marry you, to take you on as my future wife. Now I'm telling you from a man's perspective. You're the only one. So that means my sugar daddy mode got to stop, right? Because I was taught with some misinformation that it's a poor rat to have one hole to run in and out of. So I had the house here and I had a house down the street. Because I wasn't trying to be no poor rat that had one hole to run in and out of. Passport bros? You want to call yourself a passport bro? Had the house here. Had another house here. Had a few other women around there too. See, y'all gave it a different name. Passport bro. It's called whoremongering. It's called being a male hooker. Because I had to take this body and hook it up with somebody else's. And it's no disrespect, right, to our younger crew. Do you remember in 1619 when they went over to Africa and brought them back and sold them into America? That's what y'all doing, passport bros. Y'all are going over to other country, buying women, bringing them back to America. The same methodology. You don't realize that? I'm an old retired OG. So you taking your money. When we got the same type women here, all nationalities in America, You're no different than the slave traders. Passport bros, you're no different. You going to another country to buy a foreigner and bringing them back to America. So you're no different than what they did in 1619. You're no different than what they did in the 1500s. But you can't see your behavior. You're no different. You are, men, passport bros, no different than the slave traders. And then you justify that behavior to try to make it right. But see, when you got seasoned OGs, right? When you got seasoned homemongers, when you got seasoned male prostitutes that understand what it is when you selling your own body, because anytime I give somebody money, I'm selling me. She receiving it. See, y'all can't talk like that because I'm talking about me. And back in the days, anybody that know me in Baltimore City knew I messed with them over 18 but under 25. I always chased after them younger. So I'm no different than you, passport bros, running over to Italy, Amsterdam, or whatever, wherever you go. It's a lot of damn money to fly somewhere and find somebody. And you ain't even had a chance to vet them yet. Oh, I want that one right there, number 15. How much you want for that one? You no different than the YT when they went over to Africa and stole our people and brought them back to America, brought them foreigners back to America. You no different. You can't even see it. And then you want to come up on platforms and brag about being a passport bro? Let teach you something. The same type of women, traditional women, that you want, you think over there, they're here too. It's just you didn't know how to go. You went, and you got me thinking about Elon Musk now, right? Y'all think Elon Musk created them robots? And I'm not trying to be smart, passport bro. You not call you nephew. I call you nephew. But I'm going to tell you this straight out. If you degrade women on TikTok the way you do, I know what you're doing to your wife. Come on. No way in the world you can respect your wife and degrade other women. No way in the world you can respect your wife and degrade other black women. I have 4 black daughters, 2 grandbabies thus far, granddaughters. If I conducted myself, I'm going to say personal, sometimes the way I oversee, when I ran the family, sometimes I got to, bring it down. But when I'm on my live, I'm teaching certain things. I'm talking about certain things, right? But no way in the world. My children, my nieces, my niece that I raised, my sister daughter is 45 years old. I was 18 when my sister had her. Changed her pampers and everything. When she was born, I raised her up to God because it was a gift from God to our family. See, y'all don't understand stuff like that, men. You don't understand it's a gift from God to you and your girl. Or your wife. That baby is a gift from God. It's a blessing from God. And y'all play it for a joke. I'm talking about the babies. So every baby that was born, I basically raised. And if I forgot one and they remind me, you didn't raise this one, I'll go and raise them. Because it's a gift from God. And I'm talking about as a man who understand his roots. You raise them back to God. That's where I came from, when my mother and father got together. God told me I knew you, Steve Copeland, before I put you in your mother's womb. I put everything in you that I called you to go out and do, like you talking on this thing right now. I created you to be the big mouth, bald-headed black dude in Baltimore City. I created you to be the minister that I called you to go back out. I created you to be the spiritual warrior that I called you to go back and do. I created you to go back into the community to create programs with others in the community to help reduce the unalive rate, to help reduce the fentanyl rate, to get involved with trafficking, to get involved with the Innocent Project. I prepared you, Steve Copeland, for all of this. So when y'all be like, why you yelling? Why you screaming? You ask him. This is ministry for me. How many pastors, how many deacons, how many ministers you know that's willing to come on alive and talk about his faults, his mistakes, and how he learned from them, rather than trying to make y'all think we don't fall short at all? How many? How many? How many deacons will come on here and say, I'm a well-dressed, handsome dude, and I know it, but I don't sleep around in the church? I was gonna say at least not yet. No, but I don't sleep around in the church. I want that wife. I don't want to be going to church and I look over there goes Sister Barbara, Sister Betty, Sister Debbie that I done slept with and everything. I don't want that on my conscience. I'm telling you me. I can't speak for nobody else. I'm telling you me. I don't want that on my conscience. And y'all might know pastors, people that sleep around like that, and y'all put in your head, everybody doing it. No, they're not. And I know brothers that got married, end up getting a divorce and marrying somebody else in the church. That's not my problem. That's not my problem. If they all right with certain things like that inside their spirit, then believe it. God is all right with it too, because he already knew they was going to do it. That's one thing I had to realize. Our life was predestined or preordained before we ever came here. God already knew what was going to happen. Y'all the one get tied up with all that mess. Not me. Not me. Because I'm going to tell you, Queens, if I start doing the stuff I used to do, I know my conscience going to beat me up. Because I'm going to tell you, one queen, if like not, see, once I make a commitment, the commitment is not to keep going around being a whoremonger. You get me? That's all I'm saying. I'm dedicating myself just to this one person. The goal is not to keep sleeping around and doing all of this. Because I'm going to tell you personally, whenever I'm not okay with Steve, and I had to ask myself, why do I tend to step outside? Now, when I step outside my marriage, 20 times out of 20, I'm starting to lose the desire for my mate or my wife. When I start cheating, I'm not finding her interesting sexually anymore. So like a lot of y'all say, right, if you got to cheat, just go ahead and leave. You correct. Because you know why? Each time I end up cheating, I end up leaving the marriage. But it sounds great. It sounds good, right? Because that's the truth. of what you said. But at the time when you're doing it, it's like you don't want your mate to know that you're doing what you're doing. So you only doing it thinking that you're going to make things better in the inside. But no, I didn't realize it till afterwards, right? When I cheated, I wasn't finding them as interesting anymore. So I started stepping out. Eventually, I stepped and I left. Like y'all said, go. But now that's easy to say. Mainly when you got a family, when you got children. I'm only looking for peace within me. Because whatever that happened there, it might not be her. Because I'm not going to point the fingers at you. I had to look at me. This is the way I teach my clients. This is the way I teach people. Whatever people do in their lives is their business. Even your mate. If that's your husband, you his wife, that's his body. He got the right to do what he wants. That's her body. She got the right to do what she wants with it. Because that belongs to her. That belongs to him. So if he step out and lay with somebody else, or she step out, she might feel deep in her spirit or him that they deserve to do that. And it ain't got nothing to do with you. You could be doing everything right, hitting and holding, but it's the individual. That might not be feeling okay with them. And it has nothing to do with you because you doing your work. You doing your job. And that's what I had to realize with both of my wives. My first wife was my best wife. We didn't go through all these arguments and stuff like that. We would argue once in a while. My second wife, her and I, two like roaring lions. Somebody had to humble themselves between her and I. So that takes work. And as I listen to people talk about certain things, and I'm talking about humility, humbling yourself when you're in a relationship, when you're in a marriage, humility is the key to life. Because it takes two to argue. Somebody have to shut down. Somebody have to humble themselves. And y'all take that as a sign of weakness. No, because it takes two to argue. So what you do, if they want to go on like this, either that man gonna have to humble himself during the time. If a man is doing it to the woman and she see it, she can argue back. We can argue back and forth. But somebody got to humble themselves. And if you find yourself humbling yourself the majority of the time, then maybe it's not healthy. Because you ain't going to read me like that no more. You will never. I will never again let a big mouth woman close to me again. Because I know whatever that's going on with me, I'm not going to take it out on you. That's my issues, my problem, and I got to deal with it. That's why we have counselors out here. That's why we have therapists out here. That's why I have people that I can call and I can talk with. I can call my sponsees. Hey, man, what's up? I need to talk about this. I need to talk about that. And they'll feed me right back. The same with the women. Can you help me understand why women think like this or why women do certain things? Because I'm not a woman. And she can give me the woman's perspective of it. And I'll be like, oh, I get it now. See, y'all want to sit up here and speak for people that you're not. You're not a woman. I mean, you're not a man. You're not a woman. I can only share with you out of the 63 years of my life and 2 marriages and numerous relationships. You going around, right? 8 females in my life at one time, 8 women. I'm trying to figure out you, figure out you, figure out you, figure out you, act like this, act like that with you, act like that. And I felt myself losing me. Don't let no guy sit up here and tell you that Gucci game. Either when he's dealing with people, if he's not emotionally, and normally when you get physically involved, when y'all start doing this, unless y'all are detached and just doing this, feelings are going to exchange anyway. Because in order for you to enjoy that pleasure, you got to put your mindset where you at, right? So if you in there and you doing this, the outside world don't matter. You in there, boop, 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 boom. Right now, nothing matter outside of this. That's a warm place. That's a safe place to be in for the moment. The moment that thing let go, you back into the world. Challenges, struggles, downloads, and all that. Oh, I need another one because I don't want to feel what I'm feeling now. I got to go find me another, then I'm back into the work. I need another one. Watch what I'm saying because I did it. I did it. And a lot of men don't realize we came from that special place, out of there. We came from out of there, right? For 9 months, we was up in there. We was in there, right? We came from there. It's like heaven. It's a safety zone. It's a comfort zone to be back inside of a woman. Y'all play it down. Y'all play it down. Every woman I slept with, it was like an honor to me that she allowed me to be inside of her. Every woman I slept with. And I'm talking about the ones I done cheated on my wife with or wives. That was a safe haven for me. I couldn't get mad at them because I went after them. And once I got it, I was in heaven. You could not tell me nothing. I was in that safety zone. I was back up in the womb. I was back in the womb from whence I came. I felt safe. Nothing outside of that mattered until I had to look around and face the world again. That's why you won't hear me on here degrading our women. Because I know how precious that thing is. I know how powerful that thing is. I know the comfort I get from that. I know the warmth I got from that. That safety net. When I was going through a lot of stuff that I was going through. I took it for granted. I took it for a joke. And I'm going to share this with y'all right now too. Do y'all know we can abuse Smex to the point that it doesn't have I guess I'm going to say a value to it no more. It's just Smex. Do y'all realize we can do it? And I'm talking about from a man. And I know women understand too, but I'm just saying from a man's perspective. We can abuse it so much and take it for granted where it doesn't hold value anymore. And if you're in your 30s and 40s, you might say, well, it still holds value to me. I understand. But once you get a certain age, it's more to it than just that. Told y'all I was a whoremonger. That was married men, took care of their household, but had multiple women on the street, outside of the house. I would never tell my son to do what I did. I would never teach him stuff like that. To disrespect your wife or your mate like that. And even if he say, Dad, I'm doing it, me and him gonna have a talk. Because be honest with you, I don't even think his girlfriend deserves it. And if you're not happy with her no more, y'all know the saying, move on. So like I said, when I started cheating, that was my way of working myself out of the marriage. I didn't realize it until I was out. So a lot of y'all want to run off at your mouth. Well, what did you do? You said, well, what did you do? I'm still here going through the hell. Because that's what y'all do. You sit up here and you want to give people information about stuff you never experienced in your life. Well, see, I did the research. I did the statistics, all that. You did your research. You did your statistics. Who you think sit down and talk with these people from time to time to tell them how I'm an ex male. Only thing I didn't do was dance on the pole. And sometimes at 63, I might think about getting a damn pole for my next wife and dance on that, swing on that sucker for her. Because what we do in the bedroom is our business. She might want to bring in the whip, the chains, the peanut butter and jelly. She might want to she might want to bring that stuff, but that's my wife or my mate. Because y'all make a person think about getting married again for the third time, 3 times. Heck no, no. Right now, I don't want to just be shacking up with nobody, please. I'm too old for this shoot. She living all the way in D.C. like I want to run every day to D.C. I want her to be right there beside me. If I want to roll over, bam, bam, bam. Now I got to sit back and plan to go to her house and stay a couple of days and then come back home. What the heck is that? Some people do it. I might end up doing it. I don't know. I just know right now, listening to a lot of y'all, y'all make a person like me think there's not no good women out there. And I know y'all are liars. I know y'all are a bunch of liars. Men and women, y'all are a bunch of liars. When you try to put all men in that category, you're a freaking liar. And you need to go to therapy. Because there are good women out there. There are good men out there. You just better watch the ones you allow in your life. Stop making other people think because your picker messed up, that their picker messed up. Just because you're toxic. I'm talking about me, yo. and I got asked myself, why you tend to allow people in your life that you got to fix? Come on, ask yourself that. Why are you allowing people in your life that you feel like you got to shape and mold and fix? I'm going to do that again. Why do you feel like you need to bring somebody in your life that you need to shape and mold and fix? Mainly if you like 40s and 50s and 60s and 80s or 100 and something, and you want to turn around and bring somebody, I'm going to fix them. I had to learn that. I had to learn that the hard way. You cannot. I'm talking about your mate. I watch what my daughters go through, right? And my son. But I watch what they go through. My son, cool. He's cool. But I watch what they go through. And sometimes as a father, as a man that sponsor people, as a person that help other women and children and stuff like that, I be wanting to, coach my children. But then I realized they too close. That's family. So I will suggest, if I feel like listening to them about certain things that they need to talk with a therapist or something, I will suggest that. Because I have to remind myself, because they are my daughters. And we're too close. Because as dad or as uncle, when it comes to the male and the females, sometimes you already want the best for them. You already want that. You already taught them a certain way. So now you have to allow them to live and experience what they need to experience, to apply those values, those morals, values, and principles to whatever. Did y'all get twisted what I just said? The morals, values, and principles that we taught them. They lived with us a great quality of life, even though they seen their mother and father go through certain things. But now they're out in the streets. So they have to practice. When I say in the streets, they live in their lives. So they have to practice and go through certain things to realize, oh, this not right for me. That's not right for me. This is what my mother and them was trying to teach us. So you have to sit back and allow them to experience what they need to experience. Sometimes daddy want to show up. What I taught you, what I say. But I can't do that. Because in a certain way, that's tearing them down. And a lot of y'all are good for that. Beating your own daggone children up. Grown adults for living life and making their mistakes. The thing is, they need to learn from them. What to do, what not to do, what to watch out for the next time. Oh, I remember, now I understand why my dad said this. Now I understand why my mother was saying this. Because I'm telling you, Steve Copeland, if I'm not careful, we laid down the groundwork, the morals, values, the principles, teaching them how to love and care more for themselves. Because this is the only thing they have. Basically, once you love yourself and you know yourself, you can only give back what's inside of you. And a lot of times what I learned in that process, everybody don't deserve what you have to offer in here. Sometimes we want to give it to the wrong people. They don't deserve what you have to offer. And that's something that you, as the individual, have to realize. So this is the stuff. When you come into the LaTanya D. Copeland House of Hope, and the program is designed to help change the quality of your life. And it's 5 phases that you go through. Mainly, keep in mind, I'm talking about dealing with our most vulnerable people, our homeless and less fortunate people, people who have fell on hard times, people who been going off of old information, right? That's been keeping their lives in a bunch of chaos and confusion. Rather it's financially, because you know some people live above their means. Rather it's mentally, emotionally. Because a lot of stuff that causes people's life to become unmanageable is this, their thinking. It's the mindset. Some people think it's okay to live somewhere for free. Some people think it's okay to go out there, rob and steal and take. You can't tell them nothing different. It's better to take yours than for me to go and make mine. These are the type of human characteristics that we deal with people and their social mindset, their psychological mentality. And the goal is, once you recognize and identify with certain behaviors and you make it known, you help them understand what is actually happening with them. And basically, a lot of this for me, it comes through my intake. When I first do my intake form on you, and I'm evaluating you, right? Because you asked me to help you. So I'm evaluating you so I'll know how to guide you towards the licensed professionals. Because you talk with me The way you talk with me to open up and talk about life is the same way I need you to be honest with them. So you're the first, I'm your first step. You communicating with me. I'm going to feed you as much as I can, but I'm going to guide you to the licensed professionals that knows mainly how to help balance this back out. And I'm not just rubbing my ball here. Your mental conditioning. That's why when it comes to women and men and children, a lot of our children need the same help that the grown-ups need. And I'm talking about being mentally evaluated. Some children, let me make sure I get the age right, because I know it's 7. 7 years old have to sign up for the mental health program as well. On up. See, a lot of us don't understand. Your children watching what you're doing, you and your mate. A lot of that is trauma for them. A lot of y'all don't even care. You don't even worry about it because it's all about you. You're so wrapped up into you and him, you, him, but your kids watching it. The kids see the mother crying. Now, the father never touched the mother, but the kids see the mother crying, right? To them, the father then did something to the mother. Physically, from their eyesight, they're young. They doing this all, that's all they doing. But they actually seeing them yelling and screaming and hollering, and the children looking at the mother. And in their mindset, dad is hurting their mother. Do y'all know I couldn't wait till my kids got old enough to see things for themselves? To understand that dad never put his hands on your mother. Even though we argued and stuff. But these things I couldn't say until they became grown. To understand that this is what people go through. Mom and dads in relationships. You have your ups and downs. This is the way I had to start talking to mine. I had to help my children understand that no matter what dad and mom went through, I don't just love your mother. I'm still in love with your mother. The marriage just didn't work. It takes 2 to make it work. I was the one that made the decision to walk away. I had to wait basically until my kids got old enough to comprehend. It wasn't about bad mouthing their mother. It wasn't about bad mouthing me, but just to help them understand the stuff that people go through in relationships. We have our ups and downs. You have 2 individuals. Sometimes we're going to be together as like on one accord, and sometimes we're going to be rah, rah, rah. But it's how you work through it. So when I hear a lot of women bashing men, and I hear a lot of men bashing women, it shows me the respect that you basically have for yourself. Because I can tell you point blank, both of my wives that came in my life, I married them for a special reason. And it wasn't to continue being that person I used to be back in the days. I remember when Rick James came out with, I used to love them and leave them. And that's what my ex-wife told me. She said, Steve, that's you. You love them and leave them. And we was younger during that time too. I think I was in my 20s when she said that. I used to love them and leave them. That's what I used to do. Use and abuse them. And my ex-wife told me that. Belafonte, my ex-wife said that. My first wife. Because I was taught that you had that main squeeze at home. I got you, bro. Look, that's because of some old information, y'all, I grew up on. Like, it's a poor rat that had one hole to run in and out of. But she never gave me a hard way to go. I took her home. And I've been knowing her a day at a time for 45 years. Y'all say what you want out your mouth. And I still love her. It's just, I'm the one that made the decision. After a while, just let me say, I didn't find her as attractive as I did early on. And I'm talking about me. A lot of times when that male don't see you as desirable anymore, it's not you, it's him. He will go stepping. I'm gonna bring it back here. I'm talking about me, but I'm talking about a lot of other men. All right? Let's don't get it twisted. Even though I'm talking about me. That's why I share my personal experience. I share my strengths and I share my hopes. Because the goal is, I know we got to go through what we got to go through in life. And it's nothing like being able to learn from your own personal experience, right? Where you can go and feed other people back. And that's all I do. Okay. So, what's up? Yeah. Before I came on, I prayed and I asked God to decrease me and increase him. Right. And the reason why, because a lot of times I might say something and it might appear like it's my ego and it's my pride. And it can be, because a lot of that too, I was doing out of low self-esteem. And once I started gaining courage and confidence in my own self, I started realizing that I don't have to actually use a lot of outside stuff to fix me. And if I'm not careful, right? If I'm not careful, not just the smacks, I will use material things, outside resources, to make me feel whole and complete. That's why I talk the way I talk, family. Because when I come, I'm coming with you. I'm coming to you from a personal level of experience. I'm coming to you for something that I was able to recover from and move on in a better way of life. And it's a process with certain people. That's why when I deal with people, right, wherever they my sponsees or in the housing program, you have to slowly teach them how to break that vicious cycle. A lot of times when you catch a person whose life is very out of control and they're totally unmanageable, right? With their behaviors, their finances, and all of that. 9 times out of 10 is something deeper. See, y'all don't see past that. When you catch somebody that's acting a certain way, it's normally a root cause. See where I'm going? Down in here. Something that they haven't dealt with from their past. Something they might have dealt with in their past, but it has resurfaced. That's causing a bunch of pain and misery in the here and now. That's why you got people that will flip in relationships or marriages. And you see that trauma person that's acting out now. You might not be the trauma, but it's something that resurfaced. And they, for some reason, they haven't accepted it for what it was. Because one thing about a lot of us, if you've been raped, if you've been abandoned, if you've been mentally, emotionally, or physically, abused throughout life, or as a child on up, and if you have not dealt with those issues, they are going to resurface. Sometimes, even though you dealt with them, they're going to resurface. But it might not be as painful if you dealt with them already. They'll resurface and you be like, oh, I remember that. I went through this. I went through that. I felt this. You know how to push it back, right? But some people don't know the process of letting it go when it start resurfacing. So what they have a tendency of doing, because they're hurting inside, they're going to take it out to the closest ones. So that's why whenever I sit with somebody one-on-one like this, I have to listen to you real closely. I ain't saying keep talking. I have to listen. Because I need you to tell me about you. So that way I know how to best work with you. And I know what professionals I need to guide you to help you with this. To change that, mindset. Because it all comes back to this. No matter what you're doing, no matter how you feel, no matter what's going on in your life, it goes back to your thinking. It goes back to the way you perceive life. It goes back to how you look at yourself as far as you as an individual. You can be a loving, kind, considerate person, but that doesn't stop you from hurting. It doesn't stop pain from showing up. Nobody asks for pain. Nobody say, well, today I want to be miserable today. No. Sometimes that mess will pop up and you're like, where does bull junk come from? I know I say that sometimes. And if I catch it, I'll be like, oh, no, you won't, not today. And see, that's when you have spiritually, emotionally, and mentally have grown. That's when you understand your value, your worth, your integrity as a human being. That's when you realize, no, I don't deserve to be miserable today. I don't deserve to feel the way I was feeling. And I'm going to tell you this. Yesterday, like I said, I didn't understand. I knew I was going into this state of depression because it was my mother's birthday. She's not here. And we normally celebrate her birthday on Thanksgiving. So I wanted to go into that state of self-pity. I was like, nope, Ma, I love you. Thank you. I'm trying not to go here. I'm trying not to shed tears. I'm trying not to do this. I'm trying not to do that. That thing was trying to suck me in. And when 12 o'clock came and her birthday was over with, which is the 26th today, I was like, thank you, God. Because I did not push. I did not allow myself to go into that state of wallop and self-pity. Now, I did say, why you leave me? Which, come on, my mother been gone for my daughter 36, about 38 years now. Some years are better than others. Sometimes you in it and sometimes you feel it, but it just don't feel as tense. You get me? So And then I had to focus on basically the life that I'm living now. All the stuff that she taught me, no matter what I did with my life. And I'm able now to actually stand firm, watch that word, on those morals, values, and principles that Barbara Jean taught me as a child. Now, my daughter said she's gonna bring me a plate. I'm gonna cook my own stuff anyway, right? I'm only gonna, I was looking at getting a turkey. I said, nope, nobody ain't gonna do all that. But I'm gonna do, because I normally boil my chicken, stuff like that, right? Season it real nice and boil it what you think is baked. But and stuff like this. I'm gonna make a little something, just in case they want a plate too. Because this is the way I was raised. I said I might go see my sister now. I might not. I might pop up, I might not. That's where I'm at today. That's where I'm at. If I choose to go, I go. If I don't want to go, I don't go. I love y'all anyway. Stuff like that. But the point of everything I'm saying, mothers, when you and that guy got together in Kings, when y'all got together and y'all did the whoopity-doo, you know there was a 99% chance if you didn't wear something, she was going to get pregnant. Stop lying to yourself. And you knew that too, Queens, if you didn't take nothing to abort it. Because anytime you lay down with somebody, don't mean you have to let them in there, squirt in there. You get me? But you can make sure you strap it up. And I don't want to hear, yeah, you know, they break. That's a different thing. If they break, right? But I'm just saying, to protect things. If you did not wear anything to protect yourself, gentlemen, stop crying like a little kid when she popped up pregnant. Stop crying like a little kid because she didn't get rid of it. Stop crying like a little kid because you made the decision not to take care of your responsibilities after she had. Rather you and her still together or not. But if you left and you're not taking care of your responsibilities, you only showing her if you were still there, you wouldn't have took care of it. Come on, brothers, let's be real. Come on, you talking to another brother. You talking to a responsible man. You talking to a brother that done foster care. You talking to a brother that mentored young men. Trying to fill that gap of a father and other children. You ain't talking to no slouch right here. Or you ain't listening to no slouch. How many of y'all became foster care parents? How many of y'all raised your sister children like they was your children? I'm talking about the men. How many of y'all raised two other men's daughters as if they are my own? Because I feel like they my own. How many of y'all can say that with your chest poked out? How many of y'all can say that when other brothers that's not responsible like that can sit back and want to call somebody like me a simp? And I almost came back and called y'all a few names just by me saying that myself. Because you call yourself wanting to insult somebody that's responsible and productive. Don't mind if you get in a relationship, I'm just older now, with somebody with children. I'm going to raise them just like they mine because I'm a family man. And if that's not where your heart at, that's fine. Respect. But you never sit back and tell another king. You can say what you wouldn't do. Or that's not your way of doing things. But you never down a responsible, productive man. Because that'll show me you ain't nothing but that. Come on, I hustled for a living. I ran some stuff. And I thank God he turned my life around. So in understanding that, my kids grew up a total different way of life. I started a LLC. I started a program where we can help our less fortunate people regain a life. I don't hear y'all talk like that. You want to talk about smexing somebody. Talk about how you making 6 figures, and y'all know on TikTok, a lot of y'all ain't even making. And I told y'all too, when I come on TikTok, this is my way of promoting business. This is my way of advertising business. This is my way of talking about the community work that I do. This is my way of talking about the people that I know that's out in the community doing great jobs in the Black community. This is my way of sending a message of hope out, prosperity, helping people to understand that if you feel like you can't accomplish nothing in life, yes, you can. That's why when you hear me say things like I came out of school in the 10th grade. I got a 9th grade education. You couldn't tell me nothing. And then look at it like this. Come on, the goal was to be one of the biggest hustlers. By the time I turned 26, it didn't work. So the goal is you take that same mentality, that same mindset, and you turn it around into something positive. And then it's other people, business people or people that see the work that you do, and they might be interested in wanting to do the same things or investing in the work that you are doing. If I shut my mouth, a lot of them wouldn't know that I work with the homeless population. A lot of them wouldn't know that I can get donations and give back to the community, whether it's clothes, food, all of that. Talking about products. I drove the tractor trailer for 35 years. So I know a lot of warehouses that have stuff abundantly just sitting there. And that's all you got to do is go back, let them know what you do, and see can they donate towards you giving back to the people. And a lot of them will, because they got stuff sitting there. And it can be products, anything. Flooring, carpeting, because like even with the materials, like blankets, sheets, pillowcases, stuff like that, because they might use 3 threads on a certain sheet. I'm just saying, designing it, right? And they upgraded it to 5 or 6. So now they got to hold the old stuff to get the new stuff out. So they'll sell the old stuff basically at a low, ridiculous price, or they will donate it to you. Box springs and mattresses that they put into these module homes, right, to show the homes off. Ain't nobody sleeping on them and stuff like that, because they put them there to decorate the houses. Then once the house is sold, they go back, they get all of that stuff, they put it back in the warehouse. Well, I know warehouses that have this type of stuff where I can get box spring mattresses and all of that. Donated. Clothes too. They use clothes. Some of them give you new clothes. When you have warehouses, I used to, I'm trying to think of that, FUBU, right? FUBU. I think that's black owned. But FUBU, right? I used to deliver to their warehouse. Nikes too. Do you know when they have product that's sitting there that's a little bit older, right? Because they came out with a new product of Jordans or something like that. You can get those old Jordans, which still will sell pretty good. But you can get them donated to you where you can give them back out. These are the type of people when you are dealing in nonprofit work, because I deal with nonprofit work, even though I'm not a 501c3. I do that anyway. I didn't know that until somebody brought it to my attention. I get donations and I can give it back. I can even write you a receipt for the product that you're giving me, but I will write it under a nonprofit name who I'm working with, under my LLC. I'm telling you what I do. And some people with an LLC, with a nonprofit, will try to be partners with the LLC because they know you can do that. Whenever you do a tax write-off, it makes their business look much better. Because it'll make it look like they are the ones that getting the donations and giving it back. That's why a lot of y'all don't understand nothing about business. One hand feed the other. Because when you have a 501c3 or a nonprofit, now check this out, you might not be getting government funding. I know a lot of people that's not getting government funding. But because of the other businesses and other, I'm going to say business partners or investors like that, right, that believe in what they're doing, they will give them products as far as donating to that. That's what's helping a lot of nonprofits grow without the government funding. They want the government funding, don't get it wrong. They just don't want the hassle of the government. That was one of the reasons why I didn't do the 501c3, because I didn't want them in my business. But now it's getting to the point, because of the multi-purpose center, I am going to go do a 501c3 under my business, my LLC. Or if I have to do that separately, that's fine. But some kind of way, they still going to come together. But now, mind you, there are other ways of doing stuff. There are other ways of getting money. If you know somebody that's connected with a lot of the philanthropists out there that's putting money back into the community, you want them, when it comes to that money, to be able to get that money from them so that you can put back into the community. So for me, and I was getting ready to say, it's not about Steve Copeland, but I was getting ready to say, for me, when I look at stuff like that, and I am going to say, in a sense, it's about Steve Copeland, but it's actually Steve Copeland is about the people. You get me? Even when it comes to politics, it's about the people. When it comes to me dealing with our politicians, it's about the people. The people hired you to do a job. When it comes to the police department, it's about the people. We all put taxes in to pay your salaries. Your goal is to protect and serve. The politician's goal is whatever laws that's created to look out for your best interests. So you got a big mouth person like me that's going to address the politicians, the ones that we voted into position that we feel like not doing what they're supposed to do to help the people. But then what I begin to start understanding, right? You can vote a politician in because you believe in them and they believe because they told you what they're going to do once they get in. But you got to understand, once they're in and they're with others, either you're going to be in or you're going to be out. So people like Jasmine Crockett goes against the norm. You get me? That's why it's a lot of conflict right there. Look how Marjorie Greene switching up her whole character, her whole mentality. Now she get ready to retire because she taught her the bull crap too. Either you're part of the game or they're going to outcast you. She already know. Same with God dig it, Jasmine Crockett. Either you with it or you're against it. And they'll do whatever they can to get rid of you. I should have bit that in half. I'm telling you. Now I'm gonna say this. I tell y'all I'm a human rights advocate, right? Basically, I'm saying I'm a civil rights advocate. And when I say human rights advocate, it's basically saying we fight for the people's civil rights, equal rights, and constitutional rights. And they're all not just black. See, y'all have a tendency of wanting to do this black-white thing. But from my experience throughout the years, that blacks are not the only race of people that's suffering and struggling the most. And I'm gonna tell you what really helped me understand this and get out of that box. When we went to Detroit to represent, if I'm not mistaken, the immigrants, right? Might have been the Mexican. It was somewhere along that line. Another culture of people. And I realized the same stuff that black people go through with this racism, we're not the only ones. And it took me out of that box. Y'all like staying in that box, the white man, the black man. And I'm going to tell you something too. When you look at the haves and we the have-nots, your millionaires, your billionaires, and I'm talking about ones with money, they're not all white. That's y'all closed-minded bull crap. That's y'all stuff. Because you keeping stuff in a box. You can't see outside of that box. So I started realizing that it's like the rich, which control politics, which tend to control the poor, the ones that need their assistance the most. Do that flies over y'all head? If you financially stable, where you don't need government funding, you don't need state funding, you making real good money, no matter how the prices go up, you might complain about the prices, but you still can afford food. Might cost you $100 more compared to what you spend. Now I'm talking about you coming out your pocket and not looking for food stamps and government funding, state and all that. Yeah, it'll hurt you because now you got to put out, what, maybe 100 more a month or 200. I'm just saying, you get me? But you can afford it. But we don't want to pay them high prices. You get it? I understand all that. But when I go into the market, and if a piece of beef that I knew used to be $7 and then it's $14, I ain't getting it. I ain't getting it. I will go and look at some chicken. I will go and look at some fish. I don't need beef. That's what I'll tell myself. That turkey costs about $1,000. We won't have turkey this time. We'll have whole chicken. You know the difference? Get a couple of whole chickens and put in there and fix it up just like a turkey. Get a duck. Get a bird, another bird. I don't know how much turkey costs, I'm just saying, but I know they probably a little expensive now. I just took some chicken out for tomorrow. Because that's basically all I eat. Then I got turkey meatballs, right? Because I got to watch what I eat. So when I go to the store, I'm basically getting the same things. I thought about getting a little slice of that ham, little ham. It was $2.99. Just for a little, it was about this thin, but just a slice of ham. Just because it's the holiday. I ain't get it. Because personally, a lot of the stuff that I grew up on, the pigtails, the hog mugs, the chillers and stuff like that, I have not been eating like I used to. Ribs, I haven't had ribs in a while too. I haven't. Ribs, I haven't had fried chicken in probably over a month. So I would, when me and Lil Steve together, because I know that's his thing, chicken. So I'll stop past the store and get us like 5 wings and some fries. So I that's basically the only time I'll buy the wings. But then I thought about frying it myself, but now watch it. I'm trying to watch certain things that I put in me. Come on. And keep in mind, and I'm going to say this again and again and again, and every time I come on, anytime I open up my mouth, it's basically to educate y'all about something. No matter where I might be, I might start out to the left and slowly but surely work my way over here, because that's what the Couch Talk is all about, keeping life real. So whatever topic, if y'all want a topic, right, somebody right now might be in a state of depression where they really, really need to get some stuff off them. My thing with that is, come on, because if you go on some of these platforms and you pouring out your heart, a lot of sick people gonna come back and criticize wherever you at. And that's all you trying to do, is release the stress, release the pain. So that's the reason why too I came up with the Couch Conversation Show. So we can talk about life. We can talk about the making that safe space, right? Where people can talk about tragedy, stuff that's crippling them. Just to be able to feel some relieving that stress. Be honest, what I'm trying to get to. One thing I learned, whatever I say out my mouth, it's mine. Whatever I say out my mouth is mine. You can't play with that. Whatever I say out my mouth, from what I personally experienced, you can't touch that. That's mine. I own that. I own that. I didn't ask you to go do research on it, because I done my own. I didn't ask you to do statistics on it, because I live my own. I didn't ask you. So I'm sharing from a personal level. of statistics, research, and experience on my own self, because I had to learn it and I had to learn from it. So whenever you do your statistics, whenever you do your research, whenever you do all this type of stuff, if you cannot come back and bring solutions with it, you're wasting people's time. But it's great talking points to a lot of y'all. It's great talking points. But if you have not, you can search anything and everything, and I listen to y'all. Well, statistically this, statistically that, and this over here, and that over there. But you never share why they did the statistics, what they did, like intervention programs to basically slow that down or put a stop to this in this area or that area. What organizations in the community? What businesses in the community that's helping to reduce the trauma statistics? Y'all don't do that, do you? You don't do it. Because you do research, you gain knowledge just to have a talking point or to try to debate somebody off of information that you don't even know is rightfully corrected. You don't know. And you take a lot of pride in other people's information. I be laughing. But I understand too, that's where people is at who really don't even have life skills based around your own personal experience. And I learned for myself, family, that's why if I have not experienced nothing you talking about or going through, I shut my mouth. Want me to say it again? If I have not experienced whatever you talking about and what you're going through, I shut my mouth. The reason why, trials and tribulations comes to make us strong. So whatever you're going through in life, whatever storms, whatever controversy, whatever challenges, I'm talking about for you, that individual, you gotta go through it to become a better person. A lot of those mistakes, you learn from your mistakes. Your mistake teaches you what to do the next time and what not to do. You learn from them. That's why you allow that person to experience what they gotta experience. And I'm telling y'all with me too. But see, the thing with me, right, it's like I can help everybody else on the outside. You get me? I can help everybody else on the outside. But when it comes to someone close to you, like your family, they already know you got their backs when it comes to certain things. Even if they have to turn their backs on you to allow you to go through what you need to go through so that you can respect what they were trying to do for you. I already know that. Remember when I shared earlier, it's sad because of the housing program I had. And I might have a pregnant mother coming in who mother don't want them at their house or father don't want them at their house because of their disrespect. So now they asking me to help them. Might have a woman, 1, 5 kids. Family don't want them in their house, or they sleeping from house to house, right? And they trying to find something more stable. Mainly when you got children and you sleeping from house to house. Now y'all know what can happen a lot of times. When you leaving your kids, even with family members, the stuff that can happen to your children. They're starting to grow. You get me, sprouting everything. Or won't nobody touch your 16-year-old. And then can you imagine the 16-year-old, that 10 or 11-year-old, maybe a little bit younger, because they go to this house, then they got to pack up and go somewhere else. Then they got to pack up and go somewhere else. Then they got to pack up and go somewhere else. So can you imagine the mental turmoil that your children going through? I see this. I see it when a mother come in the house and she got a 15-year-old or 16-year-old or 12-year-old, and they actually seeing the changes of what their mother had to go through to find a place for them to be. So my goal when they come is to fix it where you won't have to keep traveling like that from place to place. So now I have to find a way to make you comfortable, and not just you, your children. I watch this little 10-year-old guy, young kid. You can see the frustration on his face. You can see the pain and the hurt on his face. Because once again, him, his mother, and his brother and sister got to go somewhere else. So she couldn't understand why he's so mad. I seen it in his face. So I had to start saying things to comfort him, to let him know you okay. This time I got y'all. But now it's the mother. Because anytime you come in, I already know if your mother don't let you in her house, if your father living and he don't want to deal with you, then you have other family members that don't want to deal with you. And I understand it's because of your attitude, your personality. So I already understand what you need to work on. So basically, in many cases, I'm able to help you with the program now. We able to help you to change that mindset, because the goal is to help you be more independent for yourself. And prayerfully, once you graduate from the program, you won't fall back into this predicament again. And I'm gonna get ready to end this, right? I'm gonna get ready to end this, but I just want to say this too. And I don't know, this is on my video and Be More City as well. I don't care what people say about me, right? I just know people hate to see you trying to be successful or working on being successful. People want to badmouth you and make others think that you in this certain circle of people. No, he's not. It's a lot of people in Baltimore City that I love, and I don't have a problem if we do community work together. We do community work or in events and stuff like that. If we come out, they do their things, I do my thing. It's not like I'm gonna ignore them. It's not like I'm gonna hate them. But the after party, I don't hang with. We come out, we take care of business, and we go. Anybody that needs to talk with me in Baltimore City. You can Google me. My phone number is on there. I'm not going to say no names, but I was told that me and this person was on the phone and I was laying them out. And I told that person, I said, that's a lie. I have the utmost respect for this person. We don't see things a lot together, but we both have we both speak out, right? We in the community, we do our little lives. We both speak out. And I told that person, I said, last time we was together, man, that person she was telling me about was when we had the overdose thing in Baltimore City. And we both was on the live together just talking about stuff. Went and talked to other people that was there too. I said, that was the last time we talked. I have not talked with that person since then. Stop going around trying to make me look bad. Y'all know me. Y'all know me. And I started to call that person last night, picking with him, but it was real late. And tell him, don't be over there talking about me, blah, blah, blah. But I know some people is sloppy. They just sloppy. And y'all like keeping trauma going. I already know that. Y'all like keeping a bunch of chaos and confusion going. And keep in your mind, just because I'm not in that clique like that, I'm still here. It's just that I'm not in the clique. You get me? I'm here. And I still love all of y'all. Even though we don't hang out like we used to, y'all know I've been sick. I'm getting over this. So don't be surprised when I do pop up at certain community events and y'all are there. While we there fellowshipping, we fellowshipping. I've not lost no respect and no love for nobody because I know where a lot of y'all hearts are at when it comes to the people. I already know that. But stop trying to throw me in your chaos and confusion just to grab people's attention. And I'm talking about B-More City. Stop throwing me in that bull crap. Y'all know me. Y'all know my heart. Y'all know where I'm at when it comes to dealing with our homeless population. Y'all know where I'm at dealing with like property managers, people that can help people that's homeless, that's willing to work with them, even if they just rent a room out for them, rather than an apartment, because if they can't afford it, they're not going to put them somewhere they can't afford. So I have a lot of people that do what I do and be looking for clients. So if you call me and what I can't do, I'm going to guide you to somebody else that's doing it. Their prices might be a little bit higher than mine. I'm going to let you know that too. But now, if you need a place, and it could be your own apartment, your own house, make sure you have the money to take care of this stuff. Don't be asking nobody for a place and 2-3 months later, you know you can't afford it, but you got your little tax money and you can do this and do that for a couple of months, and then later down the line, you're not going to be able to pay them. Then you think they're wrong for getting you evicted. This is business for a lot of people. So when you're dealing with realtors, investors, and stuff like that, and they got property, they need to get paid for that property. A lot of times, if people not built like that financially, when they are realtors, when they are renters, stuff like that, right? They paying a bill on that house or that apartment complex if they haven't brought it straight out. So they got a cost that they have to pay each month too. And then you want to cheat them out their money. You causing them to pay your bills on that rental property when you're not paying it. Because they still got to put that money out. See, y'all don't realize that when it comes to business. I watched the guy go through one of the private landlord. Every freaking room in that house. It was like hoarders was living in that house. Every freaking room this man went in, even down the basement. Then I watched another family rent their house out. Beautiful place. Place had roaches all in it. Beautiful place. Now, see, that's when you get into certain places, right, you might have some roaches. Now, it's the landlord's job to get the house exterminated unless you choose to do it. But now, be honest, I'm talking about this was a beautiful house. The house, as far as was clean, but then it was the roaches. So before they can rent it back out, then they got to pay for exterminator to come in. Then you got to turn around. Once you pay for the exterminator to come in, you got to go back in and clean all that stuff up. Because you know you're going to have dead roaches all over the place. Because you don't want that new tenant to come in. And when they spot them roaches, they're going to think you got a problem with roaches in that house. And that's going to be a turnoff for some. And then sometimes they might tell that person, well, we had an issue with roaches, so we had to get the house exterminated. To give you an option to see if you want to come on in. Because 9 times out of 10, you get it exterminated once. There's still stuff hidden behind the walls, you get me? And cracks and stuff. So you're going to have to get exterminated down the line again. Some people don't have those issues. They might not have issues with roaches, but some of them might have issues with the mice coming in. And then if you around rural areas, it could be the field, what is they called? Like mice, rodents. No, I'm trying to think of the regular name. But they look like rats or mice. I don't care if you got $1 million home, millions, but you living in an area that's basically forest, right? And you got a little land. You got them, the name of them will not pop in my head, but a lot of them have issues with rodents too. It might not be upstairs, but it could be mainly if their basement is not finished off, where you can like be in that basement and entertain and stuff like that. To eliminate a lot of that, they'll start coming in through the grass and dirt and all that. I'm trying to think of the name of them because they live they live in the dirt. Moles. It just popped in. But look, I'm gonna get ready to get off. I just want to say I love y'all. And I see I've been on for 2 hours and almost 10 minutes over here. Anytime I come on, y'all, just keep in mind, it always said, keeping life real. And I don't, be honest, expect for a lot of people to come in. I don't. Because for some reason, it's like we're bred on being on like a bunch of chaotic platforms where they talking about just whatever. And I had to be careful myself. Now, Mr. Humble, Ron, conversation, certain people, platforms, I'll go on, but I'm not for the chaos and the confusion. And sometimes I'll be silent, right? I might be down in the comment, just tapping and doing certain things and making comments. And the only reason why sometimes I don't care to come up, because I'm going to come with my personal experience in whatever the topic may be. And if you want to ask me a question, that's fine. But I'm going to make it clear to you, if you in your 30s or 40s, or say 50s, and I tell you I'm 63, basically I'm saying a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, I didn't already experience. So if you want to ask a question, you can ask a question. But don't ask a question that you think that need to be fixed. Not here. You get it? Because I'm only saying, I remember going through this. I remember going through that. And this is what I was able to do to become a better person, or to help, that condition, recover from it. Rather it's a unhealthy marriage, rather it's dealing with children. Now I'm in granddad mode. So I'm not saying you can't teach me nothing, but I'm listening to you. But if you can ask a question, but watch how you do it from a person that has personal experience.